The AK-47 needs no introduction. A hard-hitting powerhouse 600 RPM, high damage, high recoil weapon that is the most iconic weapon probably of all time and my favorite weapon of all time. Seriously is not talked about enough. What's going on, you guys? Frost here, and welcome to the how-to series of most of the guns that I'm going to be going over, if not all of the guns if I can, or just some that you guys will want on the channel. But today we're going to be talking about the AK-47, undisputedly one of, if not the best weapon inside of Critical Ops. Now I understand that a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, say that this weapon is hard to use, and that generally speaking that this weapon has so much recoil that it needs a lot of fixes. We're going to go over the tail of the tape before I really give a little bit of an insight as well going forward with the AK-47. So for the AK-47, the minimum damage range is 33 damage and the maximum damage range will be 28, which is really good damage. The minimum damage range for drop off for mediums is 12 meters doing the maximum damage, and then 32 meters doing the minimum damage. The fire rate, as I said for earlier, is 600 RPM. Not too fast, but also not too slow. It is in line with the counterparts of every other weapon inside of the assault rifle category, which actually makes it a very viable weapon close to medium range. It has a mag size of 30 rounds inside the magazine and 3 extra mags. The damage multiplier on the AK-47 is on the head is 4.5 times the normal amount of damage, which means from any given range you can score a headshot with, it will be a one shot. Now, personally, I do think if you shoot behind the wall or something like that, depending on the range, it is technically a 2-tap to the head, but more so over the AK-47 is going to be one-shotting the head at any given range in open field. The helmet penetration is 80%, Kevlar penetration is 76%, and object penetration is medium, and it belongs to the breach faction that is worth 2,500 with a kill reward of $200. This is probably one of, if not probably the best eco-friendly-ish weapons in the game, because you don't have to spend too much to get a good gun, but you also don't spend, you know what I'm saying, you also have to spend a little bit into your bank. But this weapon you can kind of force buy, which is pretty good in force buys, it's good in half buys, and even full buys. The AK-47, in my opinion, is probably the best all-arounder weapon that you could use in heavy tense situations. A fun fact about the AK-47 is technically a misnomer, as the rifle is officially in the automatic Kalashnikov. Let me slow down on his. Kalashnikova, automatic Kalashnikov, with 47 referring to the only year 1947 the design was introduced. Make no mistake, the AK-47 is a complete powerhouse. It deserves the definition of high damage, high recoil, and it is a very hard weapon to use. I won't really put this into the more intermediate role, because there is a skill gap with the AK-47 that people actually have to understand in order for them to actually get used to a weapon like this. The pros is essentially a 600 RPM fire rate weapon, which makes it in line into close to medium range gunplay and makes it a viable option all across the board in any given map. It does high damage, meaning that it can essentially keep up with a lot of the weapons that are dominating inside of the game, something like the SG, the Scars, and even sometimes the AUG, in my opinion. It is a fairly cheap weapon that you don't have to spend too much money for and still get good power out of, and you still get a decent kill reward with it, with it being $200. With that being said, the AK-47 is a pretty hard weapon to understand and use, and it's rightfully so, because if the weapon was pretty easy for it to be, you know what I'm saying, inside the game, then we would have a serious issue. I think the weapon is actually properly balanced currently right now. It doesn't seem like as if it stands out or it does anything that is completely busted of the norm, but I think generally speaking the AK-47 is probably one of the best, if not the best weapon in the game, because of just its versatility on how you get to use this weapon. Now we're going to boot into the training room, because I want to show you guys exactly how you can use the AK-47 in different situations. Now, the worst situation you can kind of really be in with the AK-47 is close range, and I'm going to explain why. There are times where, yes, you can kind of do really good close range with the AK-47, but most times very close range, a lot of people are probably using SMGs and whatnot. It really just depends on the situation. So let's talk about recoil, for example. This is me not controlling the recoil, As you can see, from the first to second bullet is a sincere jump up, and even from the second into the third and fourth bullet, the jump up is immensely higher, which is where you get that weird screen shake. And when you first fire the first two bullets, you kind of get a pretty quick jolt upwards of the camera, which is, I feel like a lot of people really kind of complain about, because it just has so much recoil. And obviously the easy like question would be like, why can't they just like buff or like nerf the recoil to where it's like, you know what I'm saying, it's more accurate? And the problem is that would just be completely broken for the gun. Like the reason why is it's supposed to be like a hard to master weapon. It's not too hard, but it's a weapon that you have to really, you know what I'm saying, be confident with. This weapon punishes you if you are not confident in your gunfights. If you're just going to play scary, or if you're just not like trying to be confident in your aim, you are just not going to get the kills that you really want, because people are going to take advantage of you because you're too scared of being unable to understand the weapon as a whole. Now, I want to just talk about just the idea of just bursting. A lot of people, I feel like, just completely stick to sprays, and sticking to spray is never really a good idea unless it is a close range spray. If like somebody was right here, maybe yes, doing a spray in this range, but you never want to spray from this far. You never want to spray from this far. You never want to spray from this far. You essentially want to just burst. You know what I'm saying? About maybe 5 to 10 shots. Your first 5 to 10 shots are mostly going to shoot up. Like as you can see here, literally the 8 shots right here could just go straight up. So you would normally just pull simply down. When you pull down, essentially you're just going to be aiming right towards back the head, or just towards mostly the torso and whatnot. If you have good crosshair placement, which this gun immensely benefits itself mostly off of, you will completely dominate lobbies, because you're able to just, you know what I'm saying, come in and just get a simple headshot, or just burst and get your headshot. Now, as I said before, a lot of times the reasons why the AK-47 gets a lot of flack is because a lot of people just aren't used to recoil, and that's because they're trying to fully spray from this far. You're not supposed to fully spray with an AK from that far. Instead, what you want to focus on is just simply tap firing and using that long distance as to get just some easy, you know, quick damage. You never want to commit to something that is completely out of your range and out of your, you know what I'm saying, your win range, or basically your comfortable range, right? So like seeing from here, somebody was on the other side of this angle, it's possible that you can win this, but you're mostly going to just jiggle this for, you know, just for information. But if someone was closer, like if they was like right here on this angle, yes, you can kind of fully stick a spray into there. But long range, you want to completely mostly avoid more of the time whenever you're using the AK-47. So you mostly just want to use it for, like, if they're long range, you kind of just jiggle for info. You know what I'm saying? You get your tap in, you get your damage in, and you just leave. I promise there is not really a lot of nuance to the AK-47. Just practice bursting and then simply, you know what I'm saying, moving to the next target, or just moving back and just strafing. Just use your strafing. And you can even mix this in with, like I said, crouching. Because crouching would, you know, essentially help out your recoil. Standing, obviously, is going to be a lot more harder, slightly harder, but even going into crouching. But you don't really want to, like, fully stick sprays, essentially, with this weapon, unless they're close range. If they're close range, then absolutely stick the spray. But the secret sauce is you really want to just be trying to go for, like, tabs, or, you know, saying a burst, quick burst, and simply just jiggling for your information and jiggling for the free damage, and then maybe moving a little bit closer, holding an angle, holding a headshot angle, and then getting a simple headshot. As I said before, the AK-47 needed no introduction. I do think that this is, you know, the best weapon in the game currently, just because of how many pros that you get with it. Outside of the only con is it's just not the best weapon to use close range, because other weapons that beat it in close range will outdo it because of its 600 RPM. But that being said, thank you guys for watching this how-to video about the AK-47. I enjoyed editing this and having a lot of fun with it. I'm also going to have a poll on the next weapon that you guys can essentially vote for as well to be in the next video. Very simple videos like this are just going to be like how I want for the series. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, as always.